Welcome to Kansas Speedway on a beautiful Sunday in October. Feels a little bit more like August than it does the fall. Fans are already enjoying the day and the access cars on the grid. Of course, this is race 30 of 36, but more importantly, this is race 4 of the chase, where just being good is no longer good enough.
Field rolling off onto the Kansas Speedway today for the first of the 3 parade and pace laps before the start. Show you the starting lineup across the top of the screen, headed by the defending winner of this race, Greg Biffle. Two-time winner, looking for his first win of this season, and from what I saw in practice, has a good enough car to possibly get it done today. When we get to row number 2, you will see our in-race reporter for the day and the subject of this week's Gillette Pro Glide profile, Matt Kenseth, the 2003 champion. Compare Matt's numbers from 2010 to 2011, win column in particular. Skeptic or believer, Andy?
Well, those numbers show why he's in the middle of this championship chase, and I'm a believer that he'll stay in it.
Me too. Nice recovery at Dover last week for Matt Kenseth, and Matt again, our in-race reporter for today's race at Kansas. Dale.
Hey Matt, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy?
I got you, Dale.
All right, Matt. Our first question comes from our mailbag. Derek in Tallahassee, Florida asks, when you're racing in the chase compared to the regular season, is there a different mindset you take, or is it the same throughout the season?
Absolutely not. It's really the same throughout the season for me. I mean, you show up every week, try to bring your best car, put forth your best effort, and go out every week with the idea of trying to win races.
Hey, Matt, we've seen a lot of these mile-and-a-half races. Tracks come down to fuel mileage. We saw it at Chicago. Didn't work in your favor there. Are you having to do anything different as a driver in driving the car and with your setup to make sure that maybe you're on the right side of that?
Oh gosh, I was in a good mood until you said that. There's only so much you can do. I mean, there is things you can do to save some fuel, but with instances like Chicago, we were, so many less laps. Our fuel mileage was so much worse than everybody's, we just couldn't save enough. So there's a lot of things going on with that. Hopefully today and the rest of the year, the caution, that last caution will fly where we can all race hard to the end.
Pace car is off. Race number 4 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup, 400 miles at the Kansas Speedway. Green flag is out. Matt Kenseth gets the break to the point. Excuse me, that's Greg Biffle. In the 16, 17 is racing for 3rd place with his teammate Carl Edwards.
Yeah, Carl Edwards, who really spun the tires on the start. Actually almost got down into the side of the 16 car.
Kyle Busch in 2nd, then double wide right there, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Casey Kane there in the mix. This car's been a lot stronger the last few weeks. They've started putting full races together. He could be an upset winner here today.
See that Paul Menard in the 27. Had a great run yesterday. Kevin Harvick's car had a penalty but overcame it to get a top 5 finish.
And Carl Edwards slipping back a little bit on the start in that 99 car. There is Jeff Gordon, 24, running in 8th place. Denny Hamlin behind him, and Brad Keselowski in the 2, taking that high line in the early going.
Boy, he had him so covered yesterday with his nationwide car. I just wonder if he learned anything from that that's going to help him today. The car looks pretty strong right now.
I'd have tried to sneak that car and put a 2 on it, paint it overnight, or wrap it, get that thing out of here. Wow, that was just a rocket ship yesterday. But I think Brad, in listening to him, did learn some things that are going to help him here today.
He led 173 of 200 laps in that nationwide race on Saturday. Edwards slipping back. Truex in the 56, Gordon in the 24, looking to go around him.
Yeah, Paul Edwards didn't have any grip whenever he started this race, and I think he's still looking for rear grip.
Watching Carl Edwards just a moment ago. Watch the 99.
Whoa.
Hello.
I think these drivers don't learn. Look at how far he turned that to the right. Wow.
Nice and easy now, buddy. We got a long one.
Caution out for the first time in the Hollywood Casino 400 at the Kansas Speedway. Bobby Labonte has just gone for a spin off of turn number 4. Remember I mentioned Bobby Labonte and A.J. Allmendinger. I mentioned Allmendinger and David Ruderman having to drop to the back on the pace laps for missing driver introductions. Well, Allmendinger was on his way forward, and he and Labonte got a little bit close off turn 4.
You don't need much help, whether it's a tap or arrow, to be out of control here. You see, Bobby just, that's one of those situations you're running out of room. You turn the wheel to stay off the car through your outside. And there's just not enough grip in the back. See a lot of wheel in the car right there.
Yeah. See just how quick the car gets loose and out of control.
Over here. Get what you can.
You saw Bobby spin a couple of times at Atlanta.
Caution's out here about 20 times.
It's Juan Pablo Montoya in that 42 car.
Look at this grill here, Frank.
Lap 21, leaders all heading in. Jamie?
And Matt Kenseth started the race 4th. He moved up 2 spots. He says he's just a little loose after lap 7. They're leaving it alone. 4 tires, and they'll fill it up with Sunoco fuel. Vince?
Jeff Gordon has already picked up 6 spots here in this first run, but he says it's pretty free. They're going to give him 4 tires and go a half round in the right rear. Dave?
Kyle Busch has lost 3 spots. He said it was loose, 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 loose. 4 tires, track bar adjustment, air pressure adjustment. Doc?
Greg Biffle said it's just a touch free everywhere, in, middle, and off. Half a round wedge, left rear, 4 tires, topping off with Sunoco fuel. Waiting on the fuel. Left rear lugs take a little longer, and he will lose several spots on pit road, guys.
Our Longhorn race-off pit road going to have a new leader when we get the restart. Jimmy Johnson goes to the top of the stack. Tony Stewart picking his way forward in that 14 car. That's going to move Smoke up to the 8th position. Now, Kyle Busch. Remember, he was running up in 2nd in the early going. Lost a couple of spots just before the caution. And now he's back in 12th.
Here's what happened. They had a little bit of a hiccup right here. The tire carrier trying to get the tires back over to the wall. They have to get these back to the wall before the car can leave. That slowed them up a little bit on the left side. Boy, you lose a little bit of time now, you lose a lot of spots.
There's the man who leads the race, Jimmy Johnson. Earlier in the race, lap 21. Under the first and only caution of the race so far, they took just right side tires on their pit stop, moved up from 9th spot to the lead. Johnson dropped back a little bit in that ensuing run, but his pit stop closed him up on Greg Biffle, and shortly after they came back on the racetrack, this happened.
Yeah, and now we know why he was so good on 2 tires. It's because his car is really, really good today.
Can we say great?
Yeah, we can say great.
Not just good.
It was good on 2 tires, and it was great on 4, or is great on 4. This is Austin Dillon trying to stay on the lead lap.
21-year-old grandson of Richard Childress making his NASCAR Sprint Cup Series debut today in a car owned by Mike Curb. Remember Curb, the owner, when Richard Petty won his 200th race down at Daytona, July 4th, 1984.
He's done a really nice job, and he was able to stay on the lead lap through the pit stops with some other cars that were close to getting lapped weren't able to do that. So Austin having a nice run here today.
Dillon, the championship leader in NASCAR's Camping World Truck Series, trying to win the title there in these remaining moments of this season. Clint Boyer in the 33. Final practice yesterday. This car was a rocket ship, and I really thought we'd see the Kansas native run right up to the front, kind of like Tony Stewart did in the early laps of this race. It just hasn't happened so far.
I'll tell you though, Alan, I've talked to a lot of these crew chiefs. In practice, the track is just not like it is on race day. It doesn't matter what track, it doesn't matter what weekend it is. It seems like, you know, the race is totally different than practice. You know, the teams that do well and adjust for that, they've got a good offset for it, okay? If their car is doing this in practice, they know what to do to try to get it right for the race, but they do have to make changes. So just because a car, actually rarely is the best car in practice the best car in the race.
Now, that's not to say he hasn't made progress in the race, because he started 24th and he's running 10th now, but just not the kind of rapid progress I thought we'd see from Boyer. Big weekend for Clint, of course, racing here at his home track. Clint from Emporia, Kansas, 90 miles away from this speedway. And on Friday, Boyer unveiling formally and finally his plans for next season, driving for Michael Waltrip Racing with sponsorship from 5 Hour Energy. Good saying Richard Childress is obviously responsible for him being here today, and it's been a great run, but sometimes it's just time to do the next thing.
That'll be a change that's definitely going to make Michael Waltrip Racing a stronger organization and race team. Bringing a driver with this talent and experience over there is only going to help that entire team.
Tony Stewart, 14. Brad Keselowski, 2. This is for 6th place.
Brad looks like his car's a little better after that round of green flag pit stops. I think that they've made a couple of adjustments. Looks a little more racy here now.
He's back here on June the 5th in the first of this year's Sprint Cup races at this racetrack. That Keselowski went to victory lane. Ran the final 57 laps that day on a tank of fuel, and a victory that just launched this team into a terrific summer run. What about their run today, Dave?
Well, just dealing on what you said there, Alan, Paul Wolf, the crew chief, told me this morning that truly was a turning point for them in terms of confidence. They won one. He's a brand new Sprint Cup crew chief this year, so that was big for this team. Today, they got a lot more drive up off after that last pit stop. Remember, that was his big complaint during the last run. The problem is the car got a lot tighter in the center of the corner. So driver DJ, better drive off but tighter in the center. Can you wheel it?
Yeah, I can wheel that better than a loose race car, I'll guarantee you. And you just have to move around a little bit to adjust. Now, see, Brad running higher, which means you get up there, you don't have to put as much wheel into it. I've seen him back off a little bit sooner, getting back to the throttle, using that tightness in the gas to his advantage now.
They do such a good job at just chipping away at their car all race long, making it better, making it better.
See this gap between Jimmy and Tony kind of holding fairly steady as we approach these pit stops. And there's Jeff Gordon, not all that far behind Stewart. Very solid day so far for the 24.